tricky thing that happens in communities that are PO box only. Sometimes we just have to get lucky and hope that that UPS guy or the local office Auburn will send the package down knowing it's there.
I've had stuff that was sent to me at my street address in Auburn. We've gotten one piece of mail in 20 years delivered to our house, and that happened last fall. They always refuse it. I've lost rebates. And I tell the people, I say, no, don't send it to the street address. Send it to my post office. And
I came to get a rebate on the oil change on my vehicles,
Yep.
because I have a PO box, like she's
The
saying.
state won't accept it.
They won't accept it. They won't send it.
no, they send it, but they send it to the street address, and then they get it back, and then they ask me why I haven't cashed the check.
If there's no service or no address listed in our database for that street address, it's not going to show for the town either, and it's not going to show back at the state level until it's loaded in there. One of the things with a extension of creation of rural delivery is we'll be loading it. They would have to load it.
But I don't want rules.
And if it does come to that is the choice that's out there, is whether they put that roadside box up and change the address or PO box.
That's such a hassle to change the address.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm an outsider here, so everybody knows that. But I'd like to look at this a little different angle. This is very convenient to the turnpike exit, even though you've kept it well hidden and there's no sign and so on. But it's very convenient when you're coming off the pike going to Poland. I work sometimes for the railroad, but I have a plumbing business, and we work in Poland and mine it and out back here, and it's very convenient coming from Lisbon or Lewis and across the pike to hit this, because it's open at, we go to work before most post offices are open, and by the time you go home, most of them are closed. But if you can hit something in between that's handy, it's really good. And so it's not a post office box, it's nothing to be counted that way, but we do a fair amount of business here, and it's very convenient. And the other thing is, we're amongst the dinosaurs. We don't use a computer. We don't have one. And, I know they're raising the devil with you guys and everybody else too, as far as wholesalers and everything else. But it's sort of nice to be able to, for whatever it costs the internet, $40, $60 a month, I can probably handle all my mail for less than that. And the other thing is that I do live in Lisbon, which isn't directly related to this. A few years ago, they closed 3 post offices, built one, which wasn't really handy to anywhere, and Lisbon Center.
Lisbon Falls and Lisbon Center.
And then they turned around in the end and went and rented some space and opened another one down in Lisbon Falls. So, another part of it was that everybody sort of knew everybody, which I'm sure is the case here, especially with the amount of people involved. And if a letter was misaddressed, you got it anyway. After they did the change, nobody got anything for a while if there was anything wrong. And then the people that worked in the post office didn't know the people. A lot of them came from like Yarmouth. They filled in union jobs and so on. And it wasn't until I was surprised the other day, I walked in the post office and a fellow said, "Hey, I know you, you're box 481. I haven't had the box in 15 years. And so there's a lot to be said for, a little bit of the personal relationship in this, and especially when you have boxes without street addresses, you don't have rural delivery, and it sort of smooths things up a bit. So, and the last thing is they don't want you spending money for gas, They want you to try to be efficient. So the closer they are, the better they are. I mean, So that's my 4 or 5 points there. and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. One of the things, like, when you come across, you said you come over, is it to buy stamps when you stop into the office, or is it you're mailing something else? When you said you come by and you stop at the office, is it to mail, buy stamps, or you send your letters out?
I buy most all my stamps. I do a fair amount of priority mail stuff, packages, returns, stuff like that. We've had a run of deaths in the family, 3 or 4 members, and there was a lot of paperwork and stuff to be mailed back and forth between the extended family.
Yeah.
And that stuff doesn't go on the computer. I mean, you know, it goes by mail. And so, yeah, you guys have a reason for existing. Nobody's arguing that. And,
No.
I'd like to see it exist a little more.
I mean, I can speak for them, because I got 1 more years to go than them, because they're old. Because I'm the younger one, but it's our livelihood, it's our jobs to be in the postal service. I got 15 years because I have a 4-year-old at home, and it was going to be shorter until I have a 4-year-old at home, and I don't want the post office going anywhere. You know, so it's a hard position for me to sit here as a review coordinator. I just try to make sure I do it right and everybody gets a fair shake. But none of us want to see the post office disappear. Even though it's part of our job and our duties to do these things and to look at them, we take a good hard look because we don't want things disappearing. We don't want them going anywhere. And you were describing where you go to work. That you go to Poland, that you go to London, and you go to Lisbon and Bowdoin.
But you know, those post offices are funny places for where you go
Yeah.
compared to here. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I use the Green post office and the Danville post office more than I use Lisbon or Lewiston or Auburn. And that's because of my work. But for me, this is convenient, as it is for these people, I'm sure. And it's from a different perspective than just being here.
What was the number, Randy, on the 10-year savings? What was the actual?
157,000.
157,000 over 10 years, $15,000 a year. And so if you divide that up amongst the residents here, that's a very significant sum of money we have to be putting into this post office to have it equal the projected savings. And I'm looking at it from that economic standpoint. So if we have 100 residents and have to split up $15,000 amongst those 100 residents in a year, that's what we have to bring into this post office in terms of business revenue to turn the numbers around in an overwhelming way. And at this point, we have to really show that this can be turned into a reality. And of course, we can go through our congressional representatives to get weight, and maybe they can turn around and give us a chance. But that just gives each of us a very stark illustration of what we're up against as far as the economics are concerned.
That's a net present value, so it's actually a discounted number. So based on, somebody described it once, but it's a number lower than what you would find if you just added it up as is. They do that value, what that value of that dollar would be versus all our different utilities and costs.
Okay.
So it's actually cheaper. It's a discount, 4.5.
Has there been any concept study done instead of closing or consolidating this post office, taking an alternative route about a different post office and letting this one remain?
All the offices, there's many offices. We take a look, I should say, most of it's me taking a look on a case-by-case basis as they get brought forward to us. We do look at other offices and, periodically to see if they meet any criteria. The gentleman who's driving, he started naming off the places where I've got studies ongoing. Bowdoin, West Minot,
But this list was created by headquarters.
We do. We see it. We do look at these yearly. Can we get to every one of them? Get a full look at them? No. This case, we have headquarters giving us some guidance from them, looking up and seeing what the
I
damage is.
understand it very well, and that, and to, you know, illustrate, to share with all of you, I spent 3.5 hours a day working on something for my superiors. The people who are going to see the presentation which I worked on have already made their decision now as to what they're going to do, despite the fact I put 3.5, 4 hours of work into this effort. And sometimes you go through this and you know that they've already made their mind up about what it's going to be based on other factors, and that you're going through the motions. I hope that's not the case here.
No, I don't think that's the
No,
case at all, because we've actually had cases, oh, how many offices have we?
In Maine, 5 of them that have stopped. Nationally, over 3/4 of the offices from Alaska got stopped by headquarters. They've remanded or deemed unwarranted at least 27 to 28 at headquarters so far.
And that phrase unwarranted is on tangibles. Had they been stopped, the closing of 5 or whatever, through the intangibles, like it's a sense of community, or what have been those reasons? You've already given a couple of them.
They deemed it unwarranted based on, they didn't build a case, strong enough case in their official, in the docket, mileage between
Well,
offices.
other offices.
From the nearest office to the office, equal errors. Not being able to account for how you can get the mail. Like Brady says, we want to make sure we get mail to everybody. We have a mandate to regular and effective service to
Well,
the
it's going to be
community.
difficult to argue that New Gloucester is too far away.
Yes. Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for us to argue, we're not going to get our mail, you're going to provide delivery to our actual street addresses. So both of those are not likely to gain us very much in terms of Danville's post office. What others are there?
I don't know.
I know, you know, these.
Well, you know, but the power of letters,
Jim and Randy Lee are kind of on our side. They'd like to see the post office stay open. They're doing the process, they're professional in their duties, and the way they're carrying out their duties.
I've got 67 years in the post office.
And he looks it.
My father had 35 and I had 32 so far. So that's 67. And I used to walk with my father when I was 4, while he delivered mail. So I love the postal service. I know all about, you know, I've been around a long
And you
time.
walked uphill to school.
Yeah.
These are advocates.
I'm just saying, write your letters, do what you have to do. The decision will be made by what comes forward to Congress, what comes out of Congress in the next few months.
And I would encourage all of you, if you haven't taken the time to review the proposal, it's going to be on display in Danville. There's also a copy at Rodman Road. It's posted right on the wall in the window. I know because I put it there myself. Review the whole thing. Something may come to light that we haven't thought of yet. You know?
There's been talk, that was brought up earlier, prior to me, that Randy was mentioning that the CBUs, the collection box units, because there's been concerns about mail security on the sides of roads. Things like that, if, you know, those are things that we can meet. I'm not saying that that's something that can make it negative, but bringing forward things like that allows us to know if it goes forward, where we may need, we may have a need, or it goes out. You know, it's a change of address, it's to a street address, but we also have to make it efficient for our carrier that if, you know, there's a group of people all in one central area that want to have that security of a box with a key, then we can have the expense, you know, the money to go there and put that out.
Community boxes here, are you?
No, I'm just all kinds of options. There's, you know, some people like those.
You know, I don't know if enough emphasis is placed on this. If you want to keep your Danville identity, you can keep that post office box number, and the only difference for you is it's now going to be at Broadman Road, but you're going to have your zip code, your same post office box number. You know, you still keep that Danville identity.
The convenience of being able to walk to my post office.
I know.
All right, get that one.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to be critical of the post office or anything, but it seems like over the years, you know, you've been running in the negative, and you're closing these other post offices down, but yet you're building these great big elaborate ones on the side too. You know, like they just said, there's one that just opened up not too long ago that they built.
Nothing's been built, I don't.
Down a window, maybe? Or
Oh, no, what you're talking about is the processing plant in Scarborough?